our speaker today is Lynn Fred,
God damn it.
and Lynn Fred is going to talk to us. He was recommended to me by one of our members. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been you, Richard. But in any case, he's going to talk to us about a foundation called the Jaydn Fred Foundation. And I will let him explain what that is. And Lynn Fred, please go ahead. Thank you for
Hey,
joining
thank
me.
you. Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm Lynn Fred, and I'm the executive director for the Jaydn Fred Foundation. And we started in approximately 2002, and I became the director in 2004, and I was retired from Boeing. And my son and daughter-in-law, they found
No,
that they couldn't hear
I'm
it.
still not getting it.
Who isn't getting it?
Go ahead. I just muted him.
Okay. In 2004, our son asked me to take over the Jaydn Fred Foundation because it was so involved in Britt and Alicia. You know, they had 4
Why am I
kids.
not getting any sound?
Is it okay now? Okay. And anyway, I took over in 2004 because I was retired from Boeing. And one of the reasons we started the foundation is Jaydn, at 6.5 years old, died of pancreatic cancer. And when she was developed in 2000, when she was 3 years old, she was the only one in the world that had pancreatic cancer at 3.5. And the only other one was 32 years old and died 20 years before. So she was a complete experimental case. And during this time with Britt and Alicia, they encountered a lot of eye-opening things at the hospital in Seattle and found that there's a lot of people that couldn't be there. They lived in their cars, motorhomes, and it was tragic. And so when Jaydn died, we started the foundation in memory of Jaydn and also to help all the children in Montana. So now I'll start with my PowerPoint. And if you have a problem, just let me know or interrupt me during my conversation, okay?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
There it is. Everybody see it?
I think everyone should be able to see it.
Okay. Anyway, Jaydn was born in 1994 and she passed away on March 23rd, 2001. After Jaydn was about 2 years old, Riley came in the picture in the family, and this is what we started. This is one of the first pictures that she got sick and had to go to Seattle for an operation. This is when Jaydn was during the 9 operations. You can see that her face changed every time she had an operation. She'd come home feeling great, and then during this time she would get sick again and then have to go back out. And so every time she went out, she knows she would feel better to come back home. And the people in Seattle Children's Hospital just were wonderful with her. And you know, she was always happy to be out there, and she knew after the operation she'd feel better. One of the interesting things with Jaydn, when she was small, I'd take her out to the mall and she would reach in my pocket and always have to put some money in the fountain. And that was, that created, because what they did with that money, 4 times a year, they would give it to different foundations. Well, this one time is a few years ago, they took down the fountain and rebuilt it. And during that time was a year, so they, Southgate Mall kept all the money for that year. And at the end, they picked a foundation, and they picked our foundation, and we received a check for $5,000. The mission that Britt and Alicia worked on was established in the May, and she had died in March. And we wanted to do that in the memory. Her courageous battle with cancer inspired the family to create the Jaydn Fred Foundation, which it helps other families in similar circumstances. One thing is that a lot of people didn't know that the reason that children had to go out of state is we really don't have a hospital just for children. And so they had to send them out to Seattle, Denver, Salt Lake. We've even sent them to Boston and Texas. So anybody in Montana that has to go out of state will receive funds from us as long as it's qualified by their application on our website, and a follow up with the social worker that when they leave, and we will send them a check. Now, once I get that up information, I gather it, and then I send it to the board, and they vote which tier it is, and we'll get into the tier structure in the later. The purpose is the financial support of the families in need of high-level medical care. Financial support typically includes mostly travel expenses, emergency airfare, food, motel, and gasoline. Now, I realize some of the families are under Medicaid, others have their own insurance, but I work with on Medicaid, and for an example, they give 32 cents a mile. IRS gives like 57 cents, 58 cents a mile. So we help them with that. And then on the food is when they're in the hospital, there's two people, the child and one of the members of the family can stay with them, and the rest have to go out and be supported by hotels, motels, or Ronald McDonald's house. So in between, there's a lot of expenses, and so we can help with the food and the gasoline and motel, and they can use it to any purpose they want as long as it's supported the child. This is what the experience that they have written Alicia, with their lifelong commitment to help is what they found with the Seattle and what people had to go through. And for example, there used to be 4 to a room with children, and every time when we were up there, there's always one child that didn't have the parents there because it was too expensive. So we kind of adopted every time we went there, somebody there so they could have a little bit of
Which is what I've done 3 times. And see, he's speaking and you can't hear anything.
You want me to what?
No, never mind. It's just,
Oh.
I need to unmute. I need to mute it again.
Okay. Anyway, our 3-tier system is, the tier 1 is for families with currently in treatment for cancer. And their cancer survival is depending on what stages they're in. And tier 2 is assistance with major medical needs that do not have cancer, and survival rate is 90% or more. And the tier 3 is supported children with special needs that have to go to Spokane or Seattle just for maybe a hole in the heart or minor surgery that doesn't require a major medical care, but we still help them. And the tier 1 is we send out $1,700, tier 2 over 1,000, and tier 3 over 700. And the purpose is that they can request this up to 4 years on their anniversary date. And when I receive the information from the board, I contact our accounting firm, it's Anderson, and then they send the checks out, because my belief is I'd rather have them handle all the money than I have anything to do with it. So I just feel more comfortable that way. This is our map of Montana, and you can see where we got some highlights of larger bold, and like Sunby Falls, Bozeman, Stevensville, and Kalispell. Those are the ones that they've received a lot of money from us over the years, but we have given out to every one that's on this map. We have sent out money to almost every place in Montana. And what's interesting, sometimes when I get some of the applications in from certain places in Montana, I have no idea where it was, so I had to Google it to find out. So I learned a little more about Montana that way. This is when we started in 2003 and 2004. you can see where we only helped 4, 9, and then 13, and then we gradually increased over the years until about 2016, when we hit the high mark of 124 families, 132, 134, and 145, and that was within 1 year. And it seems like every year it gets more families. And one reason I figured that it supported this way is a lot of families are beginning to understand about our foundation, that people pass our word down to them. The hospitals automatically tell them about our foundations. So it just seems like every year there's more people involved, and that's why we're here. And in 2020, it's interesting because we were going pretty strong till March until the virus hit. Then the hospitals retracted a lot of surgeries that weren't major, and they're only doing, and all the minor ones are going to happen in August and September. So the 36 we've helped so far this year, they've had dates out there. And when the application comes in, as long as they're going out to a hospital in Denver or Salt Lake or Seattle, I will send them a check just before they go out. Otherwise, they're going to have to wait till August, September, and October for their surgery dates. So I'm starting to receive some of those now. Our total benefits, which started, you can see in 2003, we had around 4,000, and then it just increased over the years. And 3 weeks ago, we hit over $1 million that we have given out since I've taken over in 2004 with our board. And with all the support, this is only given through grants, checks, people have sent us in, fundraising, and this time of the year, we're creating more things to bring in money, because we realize that you can't have all the functions you had from last year because of the virus. But it's a major step for a small foundation to be able to send out $1 million to the children that we've helped, and it's all from the communities all throughout the state of Montana. What this is all the places we've helped in Montana. I highlighted some of the bold ones in red, is this shows you that, we've helped in, like Florence, Princeton, Great Falls, Hamilton, Helena, and Missoula, we've helped over $196,000, dollars for families. So, and you look at Stevensville, we've helped with, money-wise over 30,000. So when I talk to people and they say, well, what about this area, we usually have it on our map. So I just like to emphasize where we've spent a lot of the money. A couple of stories that we've had is last year on March of 2019, I usually go out to Seattle and give presentations to the social workers and the doctors or nurses to upgrade our system with them. And every year we evaluate how much money we bring in. Then we take a percent and put it in the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. But yet a lot of the hospitals have a lot of turnover in social work. So we go out there and advise them on what our new procedures are. So when children come out there, they can notify them about our foundation and follow through with them, because usually the social workers will write recommendations to us on the application. But this story of this family, she's from Great Falls, and she was pregnant in the year, and then in January she had to go out and she was hospitalized until the baby was born. And when we got there in March, we had a check for her from the foundation, and then we asked her a few questions, and nobody from Great Falls or her family had been out there for January till March. And we were the first ones, and it isn't that the family couldn't come in, they had other children they had to take care of. But she's single with this one baby, and they'd been in the hospital for 163 days, 2 surgeries. And she's, I just can't believe this single parent. I just admire her so much that I just wanted to share this with you and some of them that we visit, and we visit a lot of them in Seattle. Last year, uh, we were contacted by Troy in Great Falls, and he wanted to do a blood drive all throughout Montana. So since we helped him, his father called us and asked if we could help with the food drive. So I contacted the Zootown Church, and in June we held a blood drive to support the Troy Strong Foundation. We didn't receive any compensation for it, but we were out there to help him. So we had a full force of blood drive that day, and we maxed it out. And we were there to help other families and everything else, and no matter what they try to do. This is interesting. I suppose some of you people know Greg Sundberg. He's a GSA director, and he came up about 5 years ago with me and says, we do the half marathon, and what I'm going to do is call for support from people to help fundraisers for the drive. And you can see over the years that, 2013 we did 1,000, and 15 we did almost 2,500, and then it just kept going up in 2016 for 3, and then almost 3,500 in 2019. And over those years, we've raised over $13,000 by having people donate money to see them walk the half marathon. So it's creative that people come up with things to help us out. Every Christmas, we have a sponsorship for families we've helped, and we usually end up with 30 to 35 families. And I contact them and ask them if they would like to participate in our Christmas program. And what we do is we find sponsors to buy presents for them. And then we held it at the Zootown Church. And last year there was 35 families, and these were in, some of them from Whitefish came in, from Butte, and the rest are around Missoula. And what the requirement was that the sponsor would go out and buy presents for the whole family, not just the person we supported, but if they had 2 or 3 children, they would help buy presents for them. And usually during this time, I get 32 sponsors. I give them the information on the children of what they'd like for Christmas, with pictures and everything else. And the families would list 10 to 12 per child, and they'd go out and buy presents for them. I think last year we spent around $15,000 for presents for these kids. And you can see in the pictures here that they really enjoyed this time. Every March we hold a Paul's Pancake raffle party, in which we sell tickets and we give out prizes, as you can see, where we give out the head-to watch, the basketball, the gift cards, and the Echo Show 5. And you can see that we just go with $3 to 2 for 5, 4 for 10, and 12 for 20. And then we hold it in March, and from 6:30 to 12, and we've been selling raffle tickets for about 30 days, and we usually end up running around $5,000 for that day, just to, we've done this for 14 years with Paul. Mike Ramos is a real good friend of Ritz, and he's helped us out tremendously over the years. And so this is some of the ways we do things that we, other than just doing grants and everything else, we try to participate with a lot of people around, and we have a very successful day. And this year alone, the weekend we had it, the next week they closed everything down. So that was the last open fundraiser we had. As we know that in March, when everything was closed down, we were always asking people what they could come up with, ideas from the board or friends or anything. And what we did this year is a walk, run, hike, or bike, a 5K or 10, and we called it our heroes. And what we did is we found families that we've helped over the years, and we asked them that we're going to have runners running for them. This last Saturday, And what they did is you pay $10 for one person and $30 for a family, or whatever you would like to give to the foundation. And this money goes to us, but they run for those children. And it showed a picture of this one child from Billings that we've helped. So during this time, we raised over $5,000 on Saturday for the our heroes. And so now we'll send badges out to the individual families that we've helped in the past with a little patch saying, you know, we've run for the heroes and we ran for you, and we're going to let them so they can stick it on their jacket or put it on their backpack. And this is one of the participations that ran for one of the children. And this is the individual that ran, and she took the picture and she sent it to us, and then we'll pass it on to the families. Our biggest fundraiser is always in July 18th and 19th. We're right around there where we hold a gala banquet at the Hilton Hotel. And last year we had 550 people, and we raised our highest amount of money for support of the foundation. And every year it increased and increased. And we had like 132 silent auctions and 32 live auctions. And the people, you know, would do the silent auction and the live, and then we also had pledges during the time to raise this money. And then on Saturday, we had the golf tournament at Larchmont. We had 147 golfers, which is maxed out, and we had raffle tickets for prizes and whole prizes, and we ended up doing very well on that day. And that, you know, since it's our biggest fundraiser this year, it's going to be cut a little bit short. We're going to just have the golf tournament, but we're also going to have a silent auction that we send out that will be on the phone, and you bid on the phone of the auction items you want. And then we'll have a pledge amount that if you didn't qualify for the silent auction winners, that you could always donate to the Jaydn Fred Foundation and pledges. And last year we did $48,000 in just pledges alone. So this is one of our biggest tournaments, and now we're trying to recreate to build this back up, because, you know, the Hilton doesn't open till July 1st, and we would be the first ones to encounter the gala event there. And I don't think we have enough time to be able to go out and get our auction items like we did last year because of the virus. Some people just, you know, the way the businesses are, if they're not open, it's hard for them to all of a sudden donate to us. So we're creating everything we can for the golf tournament and the silent auction on the telephone, where we'll send out information to people. They view it, they bid on it, and, you know, we take it from there if they win, and then we'll deliver it to them. Over the years, I've captured pictures of the families we've helped, and I just did a collage of all the kids we've helped since 2004, and I just wanted to, you know, let you know that there's a lot of children we've helped over the years, and I've gone to about 12 funerals, and we also help the families when their child does die. We have a special account that we can send out to them to help them with the services for the child. It just means a lot to help these families. They send me these pictures, or I take these pictures, and they're really supportive of us. And it's really interesting. Some of them, when they give phone calls to me, you know, I might spend 30 or 35 minutes with them just talking about their, you know, everything that's going and happening with them, and trying to support them any way I can. And you know what's interesting with these children, if you know, I'm old and I know it, and you complain about everything, and and it looked really interesting. If you go out to Seattle, there's 4 different units out there in Seattle Children's Hospital. And those children, I've never seen one that wasn't happy out there and taken care of. But, when people say, oh, my knee hurts and everything else hurts, all they have to do is go out there and look at those children in the hospital, and their pain goes away because of what these children are out there and how many are out there and what support the hospitals have for these children. One thing this year is going to be, like I told you, the virus is hitting us hard. Trying to be creative. We don't want to let the families down. And we realize that, it's a hardship for everybody, but we're reaching out because even though we're in a kind of a hold pattern, in August and September, the hospitals have told me that they're going to start taking these families back in to give them the right surgeries or special needs that they need. And we're going to be hit hard in August, September, and October to help these families. I've never turned down a family yet that's qualified, and that, every dollar donated is going to be given to them. And the child's need for medical treatment doesn't stop. Neither will we. If you'd like to support us, you can go to the jaydnfred.org, give, or you can call me with that number there. And we just, it doesn't matter if it's $25, $50, or $100, everything counts. And even when we hold a false pancake, we've had little children come up to me and hand me $1 to support the foundation. And that means just as much to me as anything else. They're thinking of us at a young age like this. And I just want to emphasize that we're proud to help these families. And we're proud when they go to Seattle or Denver, Salt Lake, Boston, or wherever they go, they send pictures to us, tell us how grateful they are for us, and that someday, that when everything's settled with them, they want to support us financially. So that's really means a lot to us in the foundation. And Britt and Alicia, and I work with a coordinator, and Courtney, she's with me now to make sure I could run my computer right so I don't screw up with you guys. So I appreciate everything. And this is the first time I've been really on visual. I usually like to be in front of people to talk to them, but I hope you're able to understand everything I did. But if you have any questions, I'd like to have you give those questions now. And I appreciate all the work you've done to have me on. I'm excited to work with retired people because, I'm there all with you. And one thing about the foundation, it keeps me going every day and not just be sitting around and being on the computer and going visiting people and doing these presentations. I really enjoy doing it. And I hope that you've learned something from the Jaydn Fred Foundation maybe you've never heard before. So I'm available for questions now.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments? Sandy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you coming and talking, Lynn, because I see signs of your fundraisers and I didn't know any of the story behind it. And it's an awesome cause. And now I will do a lot more. Thank you for helping my awareness.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Gary?
I just wanted to make a comment. Good morning, Lynn.
Oh, hi.
I was walking about 5 years. I just wanted to tell you how quickly this organization assists. I was walking through the Missoula Fresh Market parking lot about 5 years ago, and a gentleman came running after me, and he said, "You're Gary Hughes, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "I have a young couple who needs some assistance. Can you think of anyone that could help?" Well, this couple had brought their baby into the NICU center at Community, and some of its vital organs were on the outside of its body. And this family had just been flown in from Wyoming. So I immediately contacted Lynn, and I think within 2 days, the family had assistance for local care and then money to drive home after all the surgery. So they do great work. And so thank you, Lynn, for all the hard work you've done over the last many years.
Well, thank you, Gary. One thing about Gary is that I've worked with Gary, I think, since forever at the First Security Bank, and he's backed me, and the bank has been really good to me. And I just appreciate, Gary, everything you've done with me to make me a better person, and I really enjoy working with you.
Thank you.
Another thing I'd like to include is we work with about 12 different banks, mortgage companies. There are some major sponsors for our events in July. And if it wasn't for them, the money that they bring in and everybody that they invite from all over, we wouldn't be successful. But when we first started out years ago, we might have 100 people and then 150 people. And over the years, we've just grown. And you know, when you have 550 people at our auction, it was really, I don't know. Usually I get really emotional sometimes, and it just brings tears and new things for people. And we have some of the children there that we've helped, and it's just great to know everybody knows about us.
Any other questions or comments?
Oh, excuse me. This is Dick here. Thank you, Lynn, for the wonderful talk and all you do. A number of years ago, I was lucky enough to get a tour of St. Jude's Hospital in Memphis, which you may undoubtedly know about. And I'm wondering whether any children from Missoula have gone there.
So everybody that's filled out an application here that I've worked with, and we've done over, 1,000, help children. I haven't had one go out there. The Shriners, I've had them go in Spokane, the Shriners Hospital there. But never had, and I support you, dude, they send the information. But we haven't encountered anybody that's usually on the application. And if you ever go to the website, you can see what the application is filled out. And we ask questions like that. Where have you been? And, what hospitals you've been to, and all the other information. And that hasn't come up.
They advertise 100% cures for cancer. I suspect that means that they choose the people that they take in fairly carefully. So I was just curious. So thank you.
Thank you. One other note is that I'm the only one on the payroll. I have a coordinator that helps me, and I told you Courtney's right next to me. And other than that, we try to keep all the money that we can for the foundation. So I'm the secretary. I do the garbage. I clean my office, and it's at home in my closet is my office. But it's very pleasant.
Lynn, do you coordinate with other similar foundations? I'm thinking like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, for instance, and other similar ones.
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of times on the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the children that are qualified for that, we've probably helped almost 99% in Montana. We've already given, they're usually a tier 1, very serious, and we've helped, I would say, I think we helped them all. We have a good communication with Can't Make a Dream. I visit with her, maybe once a year, and also Courtney, my coordinator, she also coordinates with them. So we have an interaction all the time with them. Thank you.
Andy?
How old a person do you help? What's the limit?
Pardon me?
How old is the limit of the age of people you help?
That's a good question. It's from birth to 18 years old. Now, if they, let's say they're 17 and they turn 18, we will help them for the next year as long as they're going to the hospital. And that's up to the board to, but we won't turn down somebody, just, if they're in continue to 19 years old, we'll help them out. And also we help them out, 4 years prior to, every anniversary. So.
Okay, Lynn, well, thank you very, very much for coming and talk with us. I think it's been very interesting, and it's been very interesting to learn about the foundation, which I know some of us knew about and some of us clearly did not know about. Also, thank Courtney for me, even though she's being hidden there.
Here.
There
Thank
you
you.
are.
I'm the behind the scenes gal.
Yeah,
She
okay.
makes me, I'll tell you what, she makes me look good. I take all the credit. No, I don't. I just,
I
it wasn't
think
for her.
most of us would rather see her on the screen than you, Lynn, but
Yeah, hey, thanks a lot.
thank you very, very much for talking to us.
One of these times when you get back to your normal, I just like to come out and have coffee with everybody and just say hi.
We'll do better than that. You can come out and have a whole breakfast with us. As our guest, please.
Oh, I'd enjoy that. And I know Gary would keep me informed of that because I work with him with Kiwanis too.
Okay, good.